Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was alive. The president never gave me any deadline.
Hello and welcome to Global Television. It is Global Morning live on your screen. This is Salah Eve. My name is Ramsey Enoch and it's so good to have you join us today, this beautiful day. It is a beautiful day because you are alive, I'm alive, and we are alive to see this very day. It's of course a public holiday. Today and tomorrow has been declared a public holiday by the federal government. A lot of you are back home today, relaxing, having fun with your family. And we are here to bring you to speed with the happenings around the world. Like we have already vowed and agreed to do. That's exactly the reason I'm here this morning. So once again, Barka de Salah. I know the euphoria of the Salah celebration is still on. Some persons are still celebrating, some are still traveling. Well, in some parts of the country, the Salah celebration didn't go well with some. Some persons had accident yesterday trying to celebrate Salah somewhere in the north. But then it's so good that the celebration went on smoothly right here at the nation's capital, the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory. As a matter of fact, These are the things that we need to know. Were you able to put a smile on someone's face? Yesterday we were talking with a Muslim faithful who was my guest on the program, and he said one of the major significance of Salah is trying to put a smile on someone's face, not just celebrating with your family alone, but then you need to bring in other family members, people from outside, people who are less privileged, people who can't afford food, what to eat, and celebrate with them. That's the significance of Salah, trying to make someone happy, all right, not just celebrating alone. And it's not just all about the celebration, the eating, the drinking, the partying, the outing. It's not all about that, but then it is a time of sober reflection after fasting for 30 days. Well, I know you are celebrating the Salah in good faith, and of course Nigeria is blessed to have the celebration happening on a peaceful note. Unlike before, there are people, even though the Durbar couldn't happen in Kano State for some security reasons, apart from that, in other parts of Nigeria, it was celebrated. Even Donald Trump gave a warning of where people shouldn't go during this celebration because of a possible attack. That's to tell you that security consciousness is something that is very vital. As we celebrate, as we mingle with people, we need to be security conscious. Just this morning, someone was robbed not far away from my office here, just at the church gate here. I just heard my colleague saying two guys on a bike, just daybreak. It wasn't at night, early hours of this morning. I think at about 6 o'clock or so, places were already bright, I think past 6 or so. Two guys with a knife robbed someone just very close here at Church Gate. If you know Church Gate, so around the central area here, you know, the person was robbed. And his phone was collected. The time he was shouting, thief, 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 they're already gone. That's to tell you that you need to be security conscious as you walk on the road, as you try boarding a vehicle with people. Try to be security conscious. Try your best. Sometimes you may not know who they are. People have fallen victims in the past because it is not written on their forehead. They disguise. Someone says something, I think a security information came at a point that what they do now is they carry elderly women in front of the car, and sometimes they carry children for you not to even think they are one chance. But then I think the issue of one chance in Abuja reduced somehow, not as common as it used to be. But then it's so unfortunate that they are coming up with different tactics by the day. My colleague was actually robbed somewhere very close, around this area, leaving the office. His laptop, his MacBook, his belongings, his phone, everything was collected. And that one was so bad that there was a checkpoint very close. And these guys pretended, in uniform, pretended not to know what was going on until he was dropped and they claimed to be on duty. So these are some of the things that happen, and some things happen and you begin to doubt the authenticity of some checkpoints that we have in town, on the highway and all of that, because some persons have alleged that there is some form of conspiracy, all right, between some people who mount these checkpoints. Only God knows what they are checking when you see people pass the checkpoints with arms just because something has exchanged hands. Well, some of the things happening in Nigeria now, but the bottom line is that we need to be security conscious. All of us, we need to be security conscious. Well, let's move away from that. Let's get to the celebration. Remember, your president is 73-year-old as we speak. The celebration has been on yesterday and on Saturday and Sunday. most of the papers have the back page, the front page, I beg your pardon, the front page covered with the celebration of the president's 73rd birthday. Even yesterday's Salah coincided with the celebration because the celebration was still on. But then, contrary to the information making round on social media about the state of the Minister of FCT's well-being, it was proven otherwise yesterday when himself and some persons in Abuja, some heads, some leaders went to visit the president in celebration of the Salah. So I saw a write-up, okay? I saw a write-up where it was written that contrary to the belief and the story making round that the FCT minister was flown to France, he is in Abuja, and that is not true according to what I saw written on Daily Post newspaper this morning. Well, online anyway. But as it is, I think it's good for us to pray for our leaders. All right, pray for our leaders. Sometimes we might not be 100% satisfied with what they do. Sometimes their decisions, their policies may not really go down well with us, especially people who have faced demolition, people who have faced some form of crime, some form of attack in FCT, some persons who are homeless right now, where there are estates with nobody inside, and you feel, hey, come on, why won't the authorities give this out and all of that? Sometimes, I think there was an information some times back that some of these lands were grabbed by some persons in power, and the FCT minister have tried to revoke some of this land since his assumption of office. All right, that's by the way. Then you can also remember that there are some developing stories from Rivers State about the missing of the HOS, the head of civil service, former head of civil service, as a matter of fact, because he resigned. And people are saying so many things, a lot of stories about his resignation. Some persons will say, we're saying that why would someone at that position resign? But he said he had to resign as it is for reasons best known to him. Then the video making round on social media where the wife was putting a call across to the suspended governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, to say, well, her husband is missing, her husband is being adopted, her husband is being kidnapped, her husband, she is not sure if her husband is alive. She sent messages, there is no reply. Someone called my husband to say, come to Abuja, there's something I want to discuss. He said the person is the friend, the husband's friend, Okiri also, as she said. I can't remember the name, but then I think Okiri also. And the social media went agog with her cry, her call for the recovery of the husband, only for the husband to say, well, I am chilling somewhere in a hotel in Abuja, I'm not being kidnapped, I'm fine. And then the issue of trying to implicate his boss, that's the suspended governor Fubara himself. So many things. Some persons are saying, well, maybe he's under duress or he was forced to say certain things. But then these are all stories. We'll bring you more details about all the follow-up, the developing stories from that axis in Rivers State. But it will interest you to know that the sole administrator is on top of his game. On top of his game. I think somehow security is returning, peace is returning to Rivers State. But the question is, how long is Fubara going to be on suspension? Is it really going to be for the 6 months that has been said? That's, by the way, let's leave Rivers State right now. So much happening in Rivers State. Some vandals were actually arrested, all right? Pipeline vandals were arrested, and I think the authorities are on top of their game. And there were a lot of revelations and a lot of accusations, and it's been alleged that some persons are saying probably the suspended governor has instigated one or two things. All these are allegations which are not proven. And that's the reason I'll always say, whatever you see on social media, you don't take it too seriously. Even though in every rumor they say there is an atom of truth. I don't know how true that truth is. All right. Let's leave River State right now and move a little bit to Kogi State. Praise is still coming on Natasha to say, well, she has done well in her constituency, but then we made a mistake. All right, we made a mistake because the representations that we are getting from the Red Chamber is not what we expected, and that is coming from the Kogi Central people. Some persons are making statements right now why they had to do that recall. The notice of recall has been sent to Natasha. The case is still on. We're still waiting for what will happen. Some persons are saying, well, apart from the recall, whether there is going to be a recall or not, the issue of sexual harassment shouldn't be swept under the carpet. All right, that the Senate president needs to come out and clear the air, clear his name and all of that. But then I think there are better ways to do all of these things, that we would have peace in this country. Because what Nigerians are praying for right now is peace. All right, when the state of emergency was declared in River State, a lot of people speculated so many things. And when some soldiers were actually executed somewhere in the north, 3 Nigerian army where soldiers were actually executed by the terrorists, and people were saying, some persons were calling on, I know someone who wrote that the president of the United States of America should come to the rescue of Nigeria, you know, and a lot of people came after him on social media to say, well, you've been a full supporter of this administration. Why now? Why are you calling on someone else to come support your own country? Have your president said anything about those executed and all of that? Those are, by the way, those are things that has come as distractions. Those are things, statements that, well, some person said didn't hold water to an extent. But then so much happening. Natasha's recall, like I was saying, apart from the recall, there is also need, according to what people are saying. International organizations are saying so many things. Amnesty International saying so many things. The United Nations are saying so many things, and investigations are still on. Whatever happens, will bring you to speed with developing stories from all of this. Well, remember that as a matter of fact, on Global Morning, we bring you the newspaper review to keep you abreast with things happening, especially today that is a public holiday, that a lot of you are back home. Yeah, let's get to see what the national dailies are saying. The Punch newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, the Daily Times, the Daily Trust, the Nations, the Tribune, and a whole lot of other papers. We'll take as many that we can, so that we can bring you to speed with the major headline. Remember, we are given to news and current affairs. If you want to know what is happening, the current situation of the nation, what's making round, you always tune to at least just channel 365 on DSTV, channel 276 on Star Times, MyComSat. Then download the mobile app, Global TV Nigeria mobile app on iOS and Android devices, and you keep track of all our broadcasts so that you can stay abreast. You need to be informed so that you won't be deformed. You need to at least be very, very apt with latest developments. I could remember what happened when the shite was actually going about around the Wuse axis. A lot of stories on the social media, but a lot of persons were able to get the truth and know where to go by tuning in to Global Television, because we bring you to speed with news and current affairs. And today we will be talking about two very topical issues. We'll look at the issue of the jungle justice in Nigeria. We've had a lot of jungle justice. What is responsible? Why do we keep having that? Is it that people don't believe in the authorities anymore? They want to take laws into their hands? What has happened to necessitate jungle justice in Nigeria? Is it necessary? All right, we'll make reference. I will look at the murder in Uromi. Then we'll also look at the fact that Serap is saying you can't force Nigerians to vote. How many people believe in the system? How many people believe that their vote counts in Nigeria? How many people believe that come rain, come sunshine, they will never be differentiated? How many people in Nigeria know that it is their right to vote and be voted for? All of these will form basis of our discussion on Global Morning today, because we'll have two major discussions, and those are the discussions where we will have experts bring their ideas and perspective to the whole story to bear on Global Morning today. Let's get a quick break. When we return, I'll take you straight to the national dailies. Let's get to see what the papers are saying. Stay with us. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back from that break. It is time for us to bring you to speed with the national dailies, what the papers are saying. In case you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning on Global Television. My name is Ramsey Enoch, reaching you live and direct from the nation's capital, Abuja, Nigeria. What are the papers saying? Do you know it's very necessary for you to know what's happening around you? Not every information on social media is legit. Let me just use that word, legit, because a lot of people go there because they need people to react to their comments and all of that. You see a lot of people putting in some garbages there. So what do you need to do? Just stay abreast with the newspaper reviews coming to you from Global Television. And on the Tribune newspaper this morning, we have a lot of stories making round. I'm going to be very snappy with the papers, but then the review will be made right on the program here. I will be doing the review as I take the major headlines this morning. Nigerian Tribune is the first paper right here, where you have the picture of the president and of course the first lady in celebration here. President Bola Tinubu's exceptional performances is supported by the strong evidence provided below. If you want to know what the evidences are, pick a copy of the Tribune newspaper. The Nigerian Tribune is what I'm talking about. Then we remove FCT from TSA to speed up development. That is Tinubu talking right there. Some riders to that story, and the first rider says Wike leads FCT residents to Villa for Salah homage. That just to prove that he's not in France. Details read on page 4. Uromi killings. Emir of Kano calls for justice as CDS vows collaboration to fish out killers. We heard that the governor of Edo State, talking about Okpebolo, is already on his feet to ensure that people who perpetrated that dastardly act will be brought to book. I think the head of the vigilante and some vigilantes actually have been disbanded in Edo State, and some chiefs, chief security officers are already facing investigations. All right. This says PFN condemns killing, demands justice for victims. Edo governor suspends security chief, illegal vigilantes. Then that's all from the Nigerian Tribune. The full page of the Nigerian Tribune, like you can see on the screen right now, has some proofs of what the president is doing, and you can see the graph right there. I won't be able to go through it all, but then the revenue statistics in Africa 2024, Nigeria, that's what you have there. On the economy, the tax to Nigeria GDP ratio, you can just go through it for yourself. You can pick a copy of the Nigerian Tribune. Now, what is the Vanguard newspaper saying this beautiful day? Of course, this is the last day of the month of March. We are bidding bye-bye to March right now, and the 31st day of March, the Vanguard newspaper has these stories, and beginning from the top. All right, 118 die of Lassa fever in Q1 2025, according to NCDC. Idil Fitri, Tinubu, Atiku, Obi, governors can preach peace, unity, and tolerance. And now to the big story on the Vanguard newspaper this morning: Uromi killings. CDS can PFN seek justice for victims. I have some riders to that story, and the first rider says, as Sanusi wants Kano youth against reprisal. This implies a Kano sends delegation to engage Edo government. Opebolo suspends security chief. Another one says perpetrators must face justice. This is coming from Rep's spokesman. And finally, the rider says Nigerians should feel safe in all regions. Olowu is the one saying that Nigerians should feel safe in all regions. As far as we are one, we are preaching that Nigeria is ours and Nigeria is one. You should be able, all right, to feel free in any part of the country. If you suspect people, like we will always say, if you suspect suspicious movements, don't take laws into your hands, right? Report to the authorities, report to the security operatives, the nearest police station, the nearest checkpoint, the nearest army barrack. You can just report. The military barracks are places that you can just walk into and report suspicions. All right, if you notice any suspicious movement, anyone behaving abnormal, you know, some of them can pretend to be maybe madmen, women, you know, try to disguise to be Babambola and all of that. If you notice anyone behaving abnormal, report them to the authorities instead of taking laws into your hands. I think what really caused and resulted to this problem is the fact that these hunters were moving around with their damn guns, with their machetes, and a whole lot of other weapons, and that was why that happened. But then it is not justifiable. You need to report to the authorities, because probably these guys cannot even, they may not even be able to express themselves in English, and the people there may not even understand Hausa, and that happened. Well, that's a good one. We condemned that in totality. Reps Committee recovers 21.4 billion naira from oil and gas firms. And this one says Nigeria to pay more for petrol amid domestic dispute, crude price hike. Details read on page 19. A Rivers Sole administrator dismantling Fubara's structure, PDP alleges. Two riders to that story, just one rider, and the rider says Tinubu wrong to release Rivers allocation to Sole administrator. A Maiso retired judge is the one saying that 2027 Wike's good works will give APC victory in FCT. That's coming from Tinubu himself. Wike's good works will give APC victory in FCT. Alright, that's coming from the president, and that's to tell you that most of the things you see happening right now is in preparation for 2027's election. But then, how is INEC doing? How are they ready for 2027? Is it time to concentrate on governance or concentrate on 2027? Like someone said, that if a politician gets into office, the first day they get into office, they begin to think about the next election. But then, for the president to say weakest work in FCT will make them win election in 2027 means some of the things happening right now is because of 2027. We need to see more dividends of democracy in FCT, not just in FCT, but in all the states in Nigeria. And that's going to guarantee maybe another seat for APC. But then the hunger is still very intense. That's the truth. The hunger is still very intense. Now we're talking about, you just heard now from the papers that the price of fuel might still go up because of the internal dispute and because of the price, the hike in price, you know, selling in dollars. There was an agreement before Dangote Refinery kicked off. But then, what is happening now? What's the problem? A commercial driver said something, and I was watching this morning when he said, well, people are complaining of the fare from one location to the other. The fare is still going to increase. There's still going to be a hike in fare, all right? Commuters will have to face so much. But then where are we getting to? Where are we heading to? The money is not in circulation. The money is not in the hands of Nigerians. But the little that they have, services, food, people can't even feed. How much will you take to the market to buy food for you and your family these days? Those of you that are family men and women, you know what I'm talking about. All right, even the singles are also feeling the heat right now because it is all over. Remember what happened when people went to the market. Our correspondents went to the market to check out how patronage is before the salon. All right, and you hear people complaining, people, buyers and sellers alike. All right, they were complaining of the fact that there is no patronage. People want to buy, but they can't buy because the money is not there. All this is as a result of some policies, because as we speak right now, I don't know, but Nigerians are hungry. So what do we need to do? Keep our fingers crossed and see when the light will appear at the end of the tunnel like we were being promised. All right, now let's move from, of course, the Vanguard newspaper. Let's get to the Punch newspaper right now. What is happening from the Punch newspaper? What are the stories making round from the Punch newspaper this morning? We'll get started with the big story this morning, where the big story says CDS squad goes after killers as Okpebholo consults governors. Then one rider to that story, and of course the rider says 14 arrested as governor suspends security corps boss. Illegal vigilante groups. All right, let's quickly look at some other stories making round right here. This one says Eid al-Fitr, Tinubu NAS, governors preach peace, please heighten security nationwide. World Bank to approve Nigeria's $632 million loan request. Right, the picture of Wale Edun, the coordinating minister of the economies, right beside it there. You can see his picture right there on the screen. Petrol price to rise more as Naira for crude talks. Wobble. Rivers federal government awaits service of PDP governor's suit. Details you can find on page 9. Then still coming from, of course, the Punch newspaper this morning. But then, if there's anything Nigerians want now, is not to add more to what is going on right now. You know what will happen one thing is this: the price. The only way you can affect the life of Nigerians is to make sure the price of fuel is reduced. Remember what happened when there was a 65 Naira reduction in the price of fuel. Nigerians were happy. Nigerians were celebrating. Just after a few weeks or months, then you begin to hear that the price is even going to go higher than what it was before. That's not a good news for Nigerians. All right. More headlines from the Punch newspaper this morning. Obasa pursues suit against Morinda lawmakers despite Tinubu's intervention. All right, that's Lagos State House of Assembly. NCDC heightens surveillance as Lassa fever kills 118 in Nigeria. All right, moving away from there, let's go to the next paper, which is the Nation's newspaper is also having it, like the first paper that we read. Tinubu's picture right there, like you can see, and that of the First Lady right there. That is President Bola Tinubu's exceptional performance is supported by the strong evidence provided below. If you want to know what the evidence is, you can just go through it for yourself. Then above the nameplate, right here on page number 4, it says, remain steadfast. Tinubu tells Nigerians, remain steadfast. Well, remain steadfast, remain steadfast, remain steadfast 3 times. Meaning there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel. Steadfast. The steadfastness of Nigerians is obvious. Nigerians have been steadfast, believing in this administration. But then, I think the only thing that needs to be done right now is how to encourage people to go back to farm. Because of insecurity, people couldn't go back to farm. There was no farming activities the past year in 2024. And it's part of the reason we had a lot of food shortages. So the only thing that can be done right now to curb and arrest this situation, I mean the hunger, which is very, very prominent in the land, is to make it possible for people to go back to farm. Let the borders be open. Let food items come in. All right, I think the government is doing so much by removing tariff from some food items, grain and some other items. But then, do we have that in totality? What is the custom officers doing? All right, what are the custom officers doing at the borders? These are the things that we need to really look into. All right, Nigerians, the president is saying you should be steadfast, and president and vice president observe Eid prayers in Abuja. That's why everywhere was blocked yesterday while I was coming to the office. We had to go through an estate to just find our way, because I needed to be on air, so the driver had no choice than to navigate out of the road because everywhere was blocked due to the prayers yesterday. But thank God I was able to find my way to the office. A Muslim troop to Eid ground. Sultan called for tolerance. 2 die in Gobe stampede. Wike leads FCT homage to Villa, meaning he's not in France. Right, as it's been alleged on some platforms. Now to the Nigerian Telegraph. Nigerian Telegraph this morning, above the nameplate, FY24. 6 banks personnel's expense up 62.7% to 809.8 billion naira. NDIC to pay Heritage Bank depositors before creditors. Shareholders are the ones saying that. Then some of the stories making round still from the New Telegraph. Murdering Sunday. Mothers are unsung heroes. Remi Tinubu is the one saying that. Moving away from there, this one says military appointments during emergency rule undermine democracy. This is coming from Ogbe. This is coming from Ogbe. That's Audu Ogbe, the former PDP national chairman. Ladoja defends Rivers emergency rule. Moving away from there, fuel price now 930 naira per liter. To 9,970 naira per liter. That's a 40 naira increase. That's in Lagos, Ogun State, and FCT. That's an increase. An increment of 4 40 naira. You are going to feel this right now. There is no doubt about it. The commercial drivers will increase this immediately. But when there was a reduction of 65 naira, it never reflected. And sometimes you'll be forced to say, what is NURWT doing, the National Union of Road Transport Workers? What are they doing? I don't know. These things, when there is an increase in fuel, it affects everything in the market, affects the cost of transportation. But then, when there is a reduction, there is no reflection. That's not how it's supposed to be. But the authorities, the people who are supposed to supervise and ensure the implementation of these things, are all sleeping because probably money has exchanged hands. That's what Nigerians are saying. And that's what Nigerians are thinking, that for you not to be up and doing with your assignment, it means someone has shut you up. So anytime there is a reduction in the price of fuel, it should also reflect in the market. The market forces should not be stronger, all right, than the authorities concerned, because they have regulatory bodies. They even have the market association where you can go to and speak to their head. You understand? That's how it's supposed to be. This 40 naira increment is going to reflect in the price of fare any moment from now, since it's up in the papers. That's what it is. So we need to do the right things in Nigeria. All right, fuel price now 930 per liter to 970. All right, in Lagos, Ogun, and LCT. Details you can find on page 2. This is coming from Lokobiri himself. Then this one says politicians jostling for power shouldn't see Nigeria as private enterprise. Bode George is the one saying that, and you can get the details on page 11 and 10 and 11. Now to the big story, where the big story says reps recover additional $14 million from oil firms. I just want right to that story. Threaten Aeto, Cone Oil, Frontier, others with sanction. That should be carried out because these people don't even pity Nigerians at all. Now Eid El-Fitri, show love, compassion to vulnerable. Tinubu tells Muslims, show love. The same thing my guest said yesterday, show love to people. Some riders to that story, Sultan Atiku, Akpabio, Obi governors, PDP, others send goodwill messages. Christian Association of Nigeria, that is, can sue for stable unity and peace. Then this one says NSA urges vigilance, unity of purpose. Finally, Benue police deploy personnel at worship recreational centers and parks. All right, that's in Benue State. So much happening in Benue State right now. Moving away from there, our time is fast spent. Let's quickly look at the Guardian newspaper. And directly below the nameplate, Eid El-Fitri, Tinubu Sultan preach love amid calls for well-being, better governance. Well, Tinubu hails Okpebolo education reform. Okpebolo's education reform is getting a hailing from the president this morning. NCDC activates level 2 response as Lassa fever kills 118. I will share with authorities evidence of theft under Fubara, says Nweke. All right, I will share with authorities evidence of theft under Fubara, says Nweke. That is the head of service that just resigned, coming after his former boss. High interest rate choke real sector as banks break 1 trillion naira profit threshold. The remaining is where the president is being wished happy birthday by a security firm. And now to the Guardian newspaper. All right. Okay, we just got done with the Guardian. Now the Nigerian News Direct. This one says from the big story, why we remove FCT from Treasury single account. That is Tinubu saying right there as President hails Wike for infrastructural strides. Details on page 21. Oyo State economy now stable, attractive to investors. Makinde is the one saying that. According to Heritage Bank, NDIC begins payment of uninsured deposit for customers in April. MDLEA arrests Lekki businessman over 60 parcels of cannabis shipment from the United States. Withdrawal bill to jail eligible Nigerians who fail to vote. Withdraw bill to jail eligible Nigerians who fail to vote. Serap is telling National Assembly, and we're going to be discussing that with an expert on Global Morning today. And on the Daily Trust newspaper, Uwemi killings of families seek justice, share victims' last moment. My God, that's pathetic. Right, the rest is a celebration of the president's birthday by Tanita Security Service. Moving away from there, from the Daily Trust, we have the Daily Times, all the dailies this morning. And this one says 109 new Nigerian newspapers, workers die awaiting payments from northern state governors. I take that again. 109 new Nigerian newspaper workers die awaiting payments from northern state governors. All right. And then this one says Northern Can condemns Uwemi killings, urges calmness as governor sacks commander. All right. Niger Republic quits Lake Chad military force. And this one says choice of PDP running made strategic, not popular contest. Atiku tells Wike, well, I don't know, 2023 is gone. We're looking at 2027 now. Finally, from the Daily Independent, inefficiency, liquidity strain hold down power sector growth. Okay. Experts urge structural reform, decentralization to drive investment. Air passengers missing baggage hit 49,923 in 12 months in Nigeria. That's imperfection, and that's not professional at all. Tinubu charges Nigerians on love, charity for vulnerable citizens. This one says NESG unveils new roadmap to drive Nigeria's economic development. Uwemi killings, Edo governor sacks state security corps boss. Police summons Sanusi, the second councillor, over Idil Fitri violence in Kano State. Well, they said there shouldn't be Doba in Kano State because of the violence. So I don't know where this is coming from. Whoever violates the law should be meant to face the wrath of the law. And that's going to be the size of the newspaper review on Global Morning today. Let's go on a quick break. After the break, we'll bring you the AM news at the top of the hour, 8 o'clock. My name is Ramsey Enoch. I will return afterwards.
that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to the AM News and Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ramsey Enoch. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times 276. You can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. President Bola Tinubu joined Muslim faithfuls at the National Eid Prayer Ground, Abuja, to observe the Eid Fitr prayers that marks the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Tinubu was received by top government officials, religious leaders, and other dignitaries. Samuel Odi completes the story.
Today, millions of Muslims around the world are celebrating Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of Ramadan, the holy month of fasting. President Tinubu called for national unity and progress of the nation.
We should give thanks to Almighty Allah. We saw the beginning, we started together, and we are ending together in good health and in happiness, in prayers for our country, for all our people. We should continue the good deed as taught by the holy month of Ramadan. Care for the vulnerable, the orphans, the less privileged, everything that we have observed. We should not revert to the path that is not acceptable with the teaching of this man. That's what I pray for.
The Vice President Kashim Shettima and Deputy Senate President were at attendance at the National Prayer Ground to observe the Eid prayers. Samuel Odi reporting for Global Television News.
The Christian Association of Nigeria, 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory has congratulated Muslims on the successful completion of Ramadan and the celebration of Eid al-Fitr. In a statement by the chairman, Reverend John Hayab, and the Secretary General, Bishop Mohammed Naga, Northern Khan highlighted the spiritual significance of Ramadan. The group also expressed grief over the killing of 16 travelers in Uromi, Edo State, describing the incident as a tragic loss to humanity. The Muslim faithful in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, have united in their congregation to recite and offer Eid prayers shoulder to shoulder. This is to commemorate the holy month of Ramadan. Felicity Ndere has details of the story.
It is an Islamic holiday marking the end of Ramadan, the month when Muslims fast daily from dawn to sunset. During the prayers, the Imam urged the congregation to increase their worship to God as well as charity deeds, saying that they need to emulate the Holy Prophet Muhammad.
O you Muslims, I advise you and my humble self to fear Allah the Exalted, because that is the commandment given to both the past and present generations. Indeed, we have enjoyed upon those who were given the scripture before you, and you as well, to fear Almighty Allah. That is to follow the injunctions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Speaking with Global TV News, some worshippers thank Allah for the strength, privilege and opportunity to be able to fulfill the demands the holy month of Ramadan brings.
So during this Ramadan fasting, it makes all the Muslims come nearer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we also pray to our country to live in a peace and harmony.
The whole essence of this holy month of Ramadan, they have a lot of secrets. You pray, God will answer. Anything you know in your mind, you can do it. God will answer it. That is the secret and the take about this holy Ramadan.
Eid prayers usually follows the final day of fasting in Ramadan, and it is celebrated for 3 consecutive days. Typically, it sees gatherings to break the fast. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, Global TV News.
President Bola Tinubu is hosting his 4th set of guests for the Eid al-Fitr homage at the Presidential Banquet Hall, State House, Abuja. The guests include some lawmakers representing the Federal Capital Territory at the National Assembly, Area Council Chairperson of the FCT, traditional rulers, leaders of the Christian and Muslim communities, senior judicial officers, among others. The opening prayers were said by the chairman of the FCT chapter of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Dr. Timothy Amazon, and the Mushid of the National Mosque, Prof. Sas Galadansi. The Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project has called on the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and House of Representatives Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, to immediately withdraw a bill seeking to impose a 6-month jail term or a fine of 100,000 naira or both on eligible Nigerians who fail to vote in national and state elections. In a letter signed by SERAP's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, the organization described the proposed legislation as oppressive and a violation of citizens' rights under the Nigerian Constitution and international human rights laws. The 16th Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, has supported the ban on the annual Salah Durbar, emphasizing that the decision was necessary for peace and security in the state. Speaking at an Infa dinner at his palace, Sanusi described the Durbar, an age-old cultural tradition, as non-essential compared to the safety of Kano residents. President Bola Tinubu has given presidential assent to the investment and security bills, thus providing for a robust regulatory framework in Nigeria's capital market. According to a statement made available by the Securities and Exchange Commission, the new Investment and Security Act 2024 repeals the Investment and Security Act 2007 and introduces key reform aimed at boosting investors' confidence, strengthening market oversight, and enlightening Nigerians' financial markets with global best practices. Commenting on this milestone, the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Dr. Emotomi Agama, lauded the President's ascent as a transformative step for the capital market. A tragedy strung along the Malfashi-Kafu Road in Katsina State as a lone Homer bus accident resulted in the death of 9 passengers. According to the Katsina State Sector Commander of the FRSC, Aliyu Ma'aji, 9 passengers died on the spot while 11 others sustained varying degrees of injuries and were rushed to the hospital for treatment. Preliminary investigation has identified speeding and loss of control as the primary factors in the crash. A political pressure group, Action Collective, has called on the President of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, to directly address concerns raised by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan, representing Kogi Central, regarding her ability to speak on the Senate floor. The group stated that the issue must not be ignored, as both Nigerians and the international community are closely monitoring the situation. In a statement released and signed by its national coordinator, Teddy Onyejue, Action Collective criticized what it described as attempt to sidestep the core issue by focusing on political maneuvering. The constituents of Edo South Senatorial District and the human rights community says they have lost confidence in the senator representing the area, Senator Neda Amoshun, over alleged failure, corruption, abuse of office, and betrayal of public trust. The constituent said it has formally initiated the recall of the Labour Party senator and also demanded his prosecution over the circumstances surrounding his alleged disbandment by the New York State Supreme Court in 2010. The group added, given the international nature of these allegations, Interpol's cooperation is necessary to ensure a thorough, independent and global investigation. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde says his administration has ensured economic stability in the state through monthly payment of about 24 billion naira in salary to state and local government workers. Makinde made this known when a delegation of Muslim clerics, traditional rulers and political office holders visited his Ikolabo Ibadan residence after the Eid el-Fitr prayers at the Agodi Eid Grand. According to a statement by his media officer, Suleiman Olariwaju, the governor says his government's commitment to economic expansion had attracted private sector investment to the state. You're watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News return, we'll bring you the rest of the story.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Welcome back. Now, from the world of business, the federal government of Nigeria has launched a credit scheme worth 2.5 billion naira to encourage the conversion of vehicles to the use of compressed natural gas, that is CNG, and the manufacturing of kits. According to a statement by the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative, that is PCNGI, the credit scheme is tax credit access for light and mobility, that is CALM. The statement revealed that the initiative is aimed at easing energy and transportation costs in Nigeria. The pump price of petrol has increased between 930 naira and 970 naira per litre in some parts of Lagos and its outskirts, as against the former price of 865 naira per litre. It was noticed that these price charges were implemented on Saturday evening, with attendants in some of these filling stations saying that they sold petrol at 865 naira per litre earlier in the day before they got instruction on the increase. The latest data for the National Pension Commission, that is PENCOM, reveals that Nigeria's pension fund assets surged to 22.86 trillion naira as of January 31st, 2025, reflecting a 1.55% increase from the 22.512 trillion naira recorded in December 2024. The figures disclosed in PENCOM's January 2025 monthly report obtained underscore the steady growth of the pension sector amid prevailing economic challenges. Nigeria industrialist Aliko Dangote has retained his position as Africa's richest person for the 14th consecutive year, with his fortune surging to $23.9 billion according to Forbes 2024 African Billionaires list published on Saturday. A fellow Nigerian billionaire, Femi Otedola, has also rejoined the ranking with a net worth of $1.5 billion, while Mike Adenuga secured the 5th spot with $6.1 billion. The latest valuation marks a sharp rise from the $13.9 billion attributed to Dangote last year, driven by Forbes' inclusion of his newly operational oil refinery. His wealth has now placed him among the top 100 richest individuals globally. And on the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened that Iran will be bombed if it persists in developing nuclear weapons. The president says if they don't make a deal, there will be a bombing, also threatened to punish Iran with what he called secondary tariffs. Trump's language represented a sharpening of his comment a few days earlier that if Tehran refused to negotiate a new nuclear agreement, bad things are going to happen to Iran. It was not clear whether Trump was threatening bombing by U.S. planes alone or perhaps in an operational coordinated with Israel. China's President Xi Jinping sent a message of condolence to Myanmar's junta chief a day after a devastating earthquake killed at least 100 people. Rescue teams from around the world are in Myanmar after a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck on Friday, killing 1,700 people in neighboring Thailand. The death toll in Bangkok has risen to 18, with 76 workers missing at a collapsed high-rise under construction. And now in sport, Robert Lewandowski bagged a brace as Barcelona is to a 4-1 victory over Girona to move 3 points clear at the top of La Liga. After second place, Real Madrid pulled level on points with them on Saturday after beating Lejeune. Hansi Flick's side restored their advantage at Olympic Stadium. Lewandowski responded to Madrid strike Kylian Mbappe's double with one of his own to stay 3 goals ahead in the race for Spain's Golden Boot. Marcus Rashford's first goal for Aston Villa inspired a 3-0 win against Bristol that sent his side into the FA Cup semi-finals for the first time in 10 years. Rashford struck twice in the second half at Dugdale to end Bristol's stubborn resistance before Jacob Ramsey wrapped up Villa's long-awaited return to the last 4. Villa will face Crystal Palace 3-0 winner at Fulham on Saturday in the semi-finals at Wembley on the weekend of April 26 to 27. Arsenal Football Club has confirmed the appointment of Andrew Beta as the new sporting director. Beta, a highly respected football executive, arrives at Arsenal after a stellar 12-year tenure at Atletico Madrid, where he played a key role in constructing squad that won 2 La Liga titles in 2013 and 14 and 2020-21. The Europa League 2018 and reached 2 UEFA Champions League finals. The club says his expertise in squad building and recruitment was instrumental in shaping Diego Simeone's resilient and competitive athletic sides. As Global TV AM news come to an end, we want to inform you that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276, and you can follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. And remember that you can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Thank you for watching.
Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road.
As a matter of fact, it is another beautiful time for us to talk about the murder in Uromi. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about it, and something came to my mind, because if things like this happen, before you know what's happening, it has escalated. Welcome back from that break. Welcome back from the news. How are you feeling right now? What's happening around you? Do you feel so good about the murder in Uromi? Some persons may say, well, we've had cases of headers, unknown gunmen. Are you very sure these people are what they are claiming to be? Some persons are saying, but then, even if they are not, the way they were gruesomely murdered is bad, because we are all humans and we have the same blood running in our veins. We breathe the same breath. So this has generated a lot of controversy from different quarters. And it's so good that Okpebholo is rising to the occasion, not just Okpebholo, but then every other governor, northern governor. One very specific thing that stood out for me is the fact that governors are warning against reprisal attack. Because before now, if you hear things like this, before you know it, it has escalated to a different part of the north. There was some form of story which was not actually, I don't know, it wasn't verified. But they said there was some form of attack in a part of the north. Kanu also, but then there was a disclaimer that nothing like that happened. And of course, Okpebholo have suspended, all right, the security chief of the state, then some top vigilante officers, and some vigilantes already, and some persons are already being arrested because of this situation right now. So as it is, let's quickly look at the situation critically. Put yourself in the shoes of these people. These are people that their families are actually waiting for them to come back for the celebration. In one of the papers this morning, it was being said that so many things are happening, but from the papers, it's been said that families seek justice. Let justice be done as they share victims' last moment. The last moment, you know how it feels when a father wants to travel, when a brother wants to travel, that last hug, that last words. All right, Sekadao, you know, all those words, you know, Adao Lafia, all those words, Kasiamun, you know, all those words. Go safely, return safely. If you're coming back, the kids, buy this for me, daddy, you know, and all of that, you know, they are thinking, reflecting on the last moment they heard. Those videos, I wish those videos can be brought down, the videos, the way these people were murdered. I wish the video could be brought down from all social media platforms. What an obscene sight. In fact, it was even written, viewers' discretion, because it is not something to see. These are human beings, not animals. But then, I think I will need an expert to talk to us about this, a human rights activist who will be joining me on the conversation as we talk about the Uromi gruesome murder of some hunters who were traveling for the celebration. Talk about jungle justice. Is that the best way to go? Even if you don't believe in the judiciary, if you don't believe in the police, if you don't believe in the army, if you don't believe in the system, these are human beings, all right? That is not good. But why do these kind of things happen? What prompts or instigated or maybe necessary? It is not, I don't know, but whatever it is, that may be the reason why this was done, I think is to be condemned in totality, because human lives are involved right here. Let me go on a quick break. Let's all go on a quick break, not just me. Let's all go on a quick break. And when we return, I will have an expert join me, a human rights activist and a public affairs analyst, as we talk about the jungle justice that happened in Uromi. We'll be back after this break.
That global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world.
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
Welcome back from that break. It is still Global Morning, and straight up, we are going to Uromi right now. We're looking at jungle justice in view, all right, in view the recent development in Uromi, where some hunters traveling were actually murdered, gruesomely murdered. I have my guest joining me, Comrade Kashi O. Gerard is a human rights activist and a public affairs analyst. It's good to have you join us on the program today.
Yeah, very good morning to you and to your wonderful viewers. Thank you for having me.
All right, let's quickly get to what happened in Uromi. First of all, what would you have to say about the incident in Uromi over the week?
Well, what happened at Uromi is a very condemnable act of jungle justice, you know, and there's no better way to put it than to condemn it outrightly and possibly encourage the quest for justice, you know, for the families of for the victims and the families of the victims. You know, there's no better way to put it. In fact, such a thing is capable of inciting ethnic tensions and a crisis. It's very, very condemnable. There's no other way to put it.
All right, let's talk about this a little bit. Some persons said this is jungle justice, and this is not the first time we are hearing about jungle justice in Nigeria. What are the things that lead to this jungle justice? Is it that the people don't believe in the system? Is it that the people feel if they call on the authorities, the necessary things, the law will not take its course? Why jungle justice all the time in Nigeria? This is not the first time.
When we talk about in fact, to start with, jungle justice in Nigeria is a criminal offense. You know, and it's highly condemnable. Organizations such like the one I belong to, that is Initiative Against Human Rights Abuse and Torture, and the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights, we have carried out quarterly campaign against jungle justice, you know, trying to sensitize people, letting them know that it's a criminal offense. But then, just last week, in one of my programs, you know, I said this because of the way we have seen injustice, propaganda, lies, twisting, and the twisting of facts, you know, taking place. I said it, that we are getting very, very closer to people radicalizing movements, you know, losing faith in the system, both three arms of government, and it may lead to what we are seeing today, and we are seeing it. You know, whenever you begin to see jungle justice at this stage, it shows that there are clear lack of trust in the legal system. There are anger and frustration. Communities react emotionally to crime, you know, especially when victims are vulnerable. You know, when we have a weak law enforcement agencies, this is where evidences of it. When we have fear and misinformation, that is false accusations and rumors which spread quickly, you know, it can lead to this kind of thing. Then some of the consequences you get with regard to jungle justice is loss of life, property, lawlessness, which is what happened at Uromi, and it's very condemnable. And the time we begin to make things right, irrespective of whose odds is God, you know, stand on what is right. Honestly speaking, that's the only way the fight against jungle justice can begin to have meaning. There are reports on what happened at Uromi that these and the report showed that they were going back home for Salah celebration with their families. You know, they were perceived to be kidnappers. And there are also other reports which I don't think is right, that those vigilantes, you know, mounted roadblock to do stop and search when they don't have the legal authority whatsoever to do that. No vigilante or what have you have authority to block any road. The only people that is authorized in Nigeria to either mount our highways is the Federal Road Safety Commission, the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Customs Service, the Nigerian Army, and maybe occasionally which the court has already banned them, which is VIO. So any other group, whether is Moteko, Bubago, Hisba, whatever vigilant group or name you give it, do not have any right whatsoever to block any of our highways. Now, to get into the point of searching from the reports which are unconfirmed, that they stop the vehicle to search and the altercation is setting, and one of the guy who was fighting for his rights had to bring out dagger. Even if some of these unconfirmed reports are true, does it give them rights to kill this number of persons? Not even one. It doesn't give them right to engage in jungle justice. It is very, very condemnable, and I must give a kudos to the governor of the state, with his swift action, in suspending the commander in charge of that vigilant group. It's a way to at least holding somebody accountable. From there they can get all those involved, those who were on the scene of this crime will be able to be, even those that are still alive can be able to be arrested and prosecuted. So it's a good way to start. And I think not just that, they shouldn't just end at that. They should trust the families of these victims of jungle justice and compensate them heavily. Compensate them heavily. It's important. And while compensating them, if it's possible for the state government, to go after compensating them, going back to those people who perpetrate this jungle justice and see whatever they can get from the families of those people, either if those that committed this crime, apart from laws having its cost, if they have property, they should use it to recover money they have forced the state to pay. It will serve as a serious deterrent to others who may wish to engage in such evil work. Of course, it's only in the south that I see some of our leaders, condemn this kind of evil and they make serious attempts to arrest it. If similar thing happen in anywhere in the north, his grammar will blow, and before you know it, it will be swept under the carpet. So I give kudos to the governor Mondo Okpebholo.
All right. As it is right now, people are scared of a reprisal attack, because most times if things like this happens, there is some form of reactions coming from the state where these people actually came from, or probably their homes where they were traveling to. Now, for there not to be a reprisal attack, all right, and innocent people, because at the end of the day, innocent people are going to lose their lives. Because if you say, well, this happened to the Northerners, so let's start lynching on all of the Southerners or people who are not Hausas in the North, it's going to result to something else. So what do you think can be done as a human rights activist and a public affairs analyst to make sure there is no reprisal attack from the North?
I think one of the good things that need to be done, they have commenced it with regards to arresting the situation, making arrests, with regards to those that committed this heinous crime. And then I think the Edo State government and by large extent to the federal government of Nigeria should extend the hand of fellowship to victims of families of this victim of jungle justice. They should, if it's possible, the governor should trace states where these guys come from, reach out to the governor, see how they can pay courtesy visits in solidarity with the families. Of course, I learned that the elders of the Northern Forum or Arewa Forum, have demanded that the corpse of these lynched travelers should be returned to them for proper burial. If it's possible to do that, fine. But if they see that doing that will even aggravate already bad situation, they should bury those guys wherever they die. That is normal practice in Islam. And then see how they can extend hand of fellowship, visit the families, visit the government of the states, express deep solidarity and condemnation of what happened, and then make the trial of those who committed this heinous crime to be a transparent and public one. It will go a long way in healing the wounds. and they need to do it as quickly as possible.
All right. Now let's look at the vigilantes now, because some people feel, and there was even a clamor, there was a cry, there was a demand for a vigilante in communities because they play a very vital role. Like when we're talking, because of the security situations that we have everywhere in Nigeria. Now, how do you think this action may affect the trust that people have in vigilante? Then secondly, you know, vigilantes, they are not government employees. So even if the government of a state or local government is assisting them with something small, or maybe with equipment, with vehicles and all of that, it is just to encourage them. How do you think this action may affect the activities of vigilantes, not just in Uromi, in Edo States, but all over Nigeria? Remember, JTF, the Joint Task Force, too, somehow fall into that category. And don't forget that there is also a clamor for a state police, and state police is not a national police, and these are some of the things that people are being scared of assenting to the issue of state policing. Now, the way it is, do you think this will affect vigilante activities across the nation? And how do you think that will be?
It will not. Rather, it will reinforce the commitment of community vigilantes. First and foremost, vigilantes in most cases are funded by government. They are government set up, especially at the state level. So it's not issue that it's only communities that set it up. The one in Edo State, we are set up by the Edo State government. Just like we have Amotekusi states in the southwest set up, just like we have Isba, just like we have Ibubaga, so on. So it's some of the states that set up vigilante to aid, to support the work of the conventional security institutions like the police. You understand? Now, with regards to what happened at Uromi, I'm sure that locals in that will be hailing what happened, because you know that what happened in this case is a two-way thing. There are unconfirmed reports that they believe that these guys are the people that have been kidnapping in those areas, and there are also unconfirmed reports that they got a huge amount of money from them, which they have not tendered to the police. You understand? There are also reports that they got sophisticated guns like AK-47, but what we saw in the report that we are presented are den guns. You understand? So the question there is, if they got such a thing, where are those? Did they share it among themselves? Even if they did not share it among themselves, because it would have helped whatever they are claiming. You understand? But even if they did not share it among themselves, who participated? So among the locals in that area, they are hailing the work of these local vigilantes that they are doing very well. But in a general overview, it is condemnable. Jungle justice is not good anywhere. Don't forget that these vigilantes some time ago, under the leadership of former governor of Akwa Ibom State, Emmanuel Odom, arrested persons they perceived to be these Fulani herdsmen with sophisticated weapons like AK-47. And according to the governor then, who was the chief executive officer then, handed over these people to the Nigerian police force. Within a few days, they were released, and their guns given back to them. This is a governor reported as a governor then, in a video that circulated widely. So you have things like that is things that make those vigilantes or locals to lose faith in pursuing justice, in doing the right thing. They devise means of, serving justice on their own, which is totally uncalled for and illegal. So it cannot kill the attempt to, push and drive for state policing and vigilant group. Just a few days ago on Friday, we saw what happened here in Abuja. We are a Shiite group assembled to express their God-given rights, also enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria, which is the right to protest. We saw how they were suppressed. We saw the report that Many died, many were arrested, many were injured. You ask yourself, why is it that anytime Shiite want to express their God-given rights and rights enshrined in the Constitution, they are always being clapped down on? If any other group carries that protest, you will not see similar, especially when it comes to religious activities. So are we going to say, okay, because we are suppressed down just 3 days ago, the security forces, including Nigerian Army, Nigerian Police Force, Civil Defense, and the rest, are not doing their work? So it goes two ways. There are no perfect institutions, there are no perfect arrangements, there are no perfect actions. Anywhere they deserve to be given kudos, we give them kudos. Anywhere they deserve condemnation, we condemn them and proffer solution and way forward, which we have proffered here. What we can do with regards to those vigilantes is to see that there's routine training. There are routine training and workshop to see how we can encourage them to have civil approach in their conduct and engagement with regards to security involvement. It's not our outright, banning.
Okay. Just to make a little reference to the issue of Shiite that you just talked about, the incident that happened around the Wuse access. I think there was a story making rounds some times back that this same set of aggrieved Shiite people carried out same protests in the past, and it was not a pleasant one, where we had that some police officers were murdered during the protest, that some were macheted and all of that. Don't you think that was part of the reason why the authorities tried to curtail this protest this time? I don't know. I'm just asking.
It's not, you cannot use one out of many to pass a judgment, Shiites have been carrying out protests, the ones that we have experienced in Nigeria, especially in Abuja. They have been carrying out series of protests when their leader, El Zakzaky, was incarcerated. You understand? And we have seen how they conduct themselves here in Abuja. They have not infringed on any person's rights. But then the one you are making reference to, where a deputy commissioner of police was reportedly killed, which the investigation with regards to that killing has not been able to give complete and comprehensive report of what happened. From the reports, some of the reports we in the civil society got was that he was addressing the Shiite people, and he was shot. And if you look at the killing that was reported with regards to that deputy commissioner of police, if he's facing Shiites and addressing them and he's shot from the back, who killed him then? It was the same Shiites protest that one of our comrades, LS Obu, who is a journalist covering their protest at Bega, he was killed. And the Nigerian police force in Otako division claimed that the guy was running and he slipped and he fell down and his head hit on iron. But they realized, we refused because they wanted to bury the guy. We went to National Hospital and conducted autopsy. Autopsy showed that he was killed at close range with a pistol. The bullet was removed from his head. We demanded that they should do forensic investigation to find out who owned the bullet. That is only Nigerian police that uses that kind of bullet. They dilly-dallied and claimed that the guns they went out with the bullet they were complete. There was no shooting. Whereas people around that vicinity, that Bega and the Wuse, claimed that they were shooting sporadically. And that was how we lost that comrade. And the widow, the wife now, and the child they left behind are suffering heavily. There are hardly any time that we will not get a report that the daughter that the comrade left behind has been chased out of school. And we went to court and we obtained judgment. We got judgment about 3 years ago with regards to this issue. Up to now, Nigerian police have failed to respect that judgment or implement that judgment. So things like this is what give room to this kind of jungle justice that is very, very condemnable. So you don't begin to say because a protest was carried out and persons died, because the person that died, you can attribute it to those who organized the protest. What happened about those that carry the End Bad Governance protest August last year, where 11 of our comrades are still being tried? 3 times we have gone to court. Just last week we went to court. The judge was not on seat. 3 times they have shifted the trial of the Abuja 11. Whereas the ones they presented in Federal High Court that looked very malnourished, that lead to global condemnation, that made the President Commander-in-Chief directing the Attorney General of the Federal to withdraw all charges against End-Bad Governance. But they have not done that. What about the End-SARS protests? That people were killed and they deny people did not die. During the judicial panel of inquiry on End-SARS protests, they were indicted. You see Army Chief in the panel accusing Governor, accusing CP, and all of them we are trading west. At the end of the day, the reports came out. We are waiting for the white paper.
All right, Comrade Kashi. Comrade Kashi.
That was organized, that they are the ones that carried out the killings that happened in Lekki, in Abuja, and other areas during ESA's protests. One of the victims, he carrying Nigerian police bullet as we talk today. His thigh.
All right. Comrade Kashi, our time is up. We are trying to round up. Are you now trying to say these incidences, for the fact that things are reported to the authority, you go to court, there is a court judgment, and the judiciary's decision from the court, the judgment is not being adhered to, then the issue of unlawful shootings and all of these in the system communicates to culminate into the reason why there are jungle justice in some quarters. Is that what you are trying to say?
Oh yes, it's only a tree that you tell you will cut that will stand there. I just said it in a sister station that I'm saying it here again. The way we are going with justice system is making people to be radicalized. It's making people to devise means of survival, and it's not good for our own collective existence. If injustice is perceived to be done like what we see with regards to these hunters going for Salah, we should follow it holistically. We should find a way to find justice for them.
I think that's what the government is doing right now. That's what the government is doing. The governor is doing that already.
Anytime we see a twisting of justice, deliberate intention, frustrating the will of justice, it will lead to frustration. It will lead to anger. It will lead to lack of trust. It will lead to people finding ways of, carrying out their own justice, which is a reprisal or revenge.
All right, Comrade Kashi, we've spent a lot of time because our time is already up, just because we couldn't get hooked in time. That's why we have to spend this length of time so that you can clear the air as a human rights activist. Many thanks for joining us on Global Morning today.
Thank you for having me, and I wish a happy Salah celebration to our Muslim brothers and sisters, and to the family of the victims of this jungle justice. I send my deep condolences and pray that the God will give them fortitude to bear the loss.
Thank you very much. We hope to have you some other time. All right, this is going to be the size of the first conversation on Global Morning today, looking at the jungle justice, taking into cognizance the issue in Uromi, Delta, Edo State. All right, as it is right now, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll look at the second one, which is the bill that has said, well, if any eligible Nigerian refuse to vote, that person should be sent to jail or be made to pay 100,000 naira or face both. All right, let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll have a legal practitioner join us for that conversation. Stay with us.
know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.
welcome back from that break. It is still Global Morning on Global Television. This beautiful day, in case you're just joining us, this is the second conversation. And the first conversation was about the jungle justice, the Uromi murder, the gruesome murder of some hunters traveling for Salah, as it is being claimed. Investigation still going on. We'll bring you more follow-up from that story. But now let's go straight to the bills. There's so many bills that were proposed at the assembly. Now, there is this bill that Serap is saying they are not comfortable with, and that is the bill that has to do with Nigerian voters. That if you fail to vote, you get a jail or you pay 100,000 naira or both. I have a legal practitioner joining me as we discuss this matter today on Global Morning. Dr. Oke Ezogo is right here. He is a legal practitioner, and we'll be doing justice to this topic. It's good to have you join us on Global Morning today to talk about this. As it is, Barka de Salah. Do you know that I didn't know that today is even public holiday, because we don't have public holiday, as a matter of fact. You were asking whether you're in court. I was asking him, is he in court this morning, not knowing that today is a public holiday. It's so good to have you join us this morning. Now, let's get to talk about this. Serap is saying the bill, all right, the bill that is mandating, if being passed, is going to mandate Nigerians to vote. Serap is saying it is an infringement on the fundamental human rights of Nigerians, forcing them to vote against their will. And on the other side, there is this constitutional, belief. There is this constitution that said, well, at the age of 18, you've gotten to the franchise age and you can vote and be voted for. How can we separate these two now?
Well, our legislative arrangements have of recent become something like a theater of the absurd. Because, I can tell you that there is virtually no area in this country that we have not legislated. Virtually no area. It has never been. It has never been a problem of legislating, coming out with laws and all that. The problem is implementation. And when you come out with a law that obviously you yourself know you can't implement, it becomes just a child. You make yourself look like you're just playing around and all that. First and foremost, just like Serap said, it's against the spirit of the constitution of this country to force anybody to go and vote in an election. The fundamental thing is choice. Not of choice. Because even when you're going to vote, you're going to choose someone. And of course, fundamentally, that choice, that area where you must choose, because the idea now is that you must choose, even if they come up, even if all the political parties come up with horrible candidates that you don't believe in, you must choose one of them. That's exactly what I say. That's the message they're passing across. And I think it is not in the interest of any civilized entity, any civilized country to begin to hazard with things like this. You know, a candidate is not qualified, for instance. A candidate who probably has antecedents of maybe criminal record or fraudulent record, or who have been adjudged as corrupt or something, but maybe because they have what it takes to get to where they are, and then all the political parties now say, okay, A is Mr. This, B this, 3D, and all the political parties come up with similar candidates, who obviously the public knows that they are not going to do anything for the country. Or the person who is being compelled to vote knows that the person will not actually deliver. But you are insisting that he must choose one of them. It's fundamentally wrong. It's against the spirit of the Constitution. We are not in a military regime. Even if in a military regime, I can't remember anybody toying with the idea of saying I must vote. That's one. Two, like I said, it's not about coming up with these laws or legislating. Coming out with one provision or the other. Now, there are so many Nigerians today who are registered voters, but who are not living in this country. Many of them are abroad. There are embassy officials, they are living abroad. There are Nigerian traders, there are Nigerian professionals here and there all over the world. Many of them registered there before they traveled. To the best of my knowledge, we don't have diaspora voting rights. So are you now suggesting that this category of persons must return to the country to vote? And if they must do that, who takes the bill? Who picks the bill? Or they are coming in and all of that?
That's what I wanted asking.
Yeah, who picks their bill? And you are asking them that they must come home to choose whoever. Now, is the diaspora voting part of the component of this legislation we're talking about? I've not seen the details, but if they are conjecturing anything around this idea of everybody must vote, then it means you can vote wherever you are, as long as you are a registered voter. So, is there any provision to that effect in this new bill now? That I cannot say. Sure.
I don't think there is, because before you can have that, there has to be an electronic voting.
If there is none, like I said, it's not about legislating, it's not about coming out with laws, it's about implementing it. It's not implementable. You talked about underage voting, you talked about those who vote at the age of 18 and all of that. Are we not having laws? Of course, the Electoral Act is very clear. If you're underage, you can't vote. Is it all right? Is that we all know it? But are they not voting? They are.
We saw after the 2023 election, we saw videos and we saw a lot of evidences. But I wonder why the courts didn't even do anything about it.
In this way, you see, we're having a system where, beyond the provision of the laws, of our constitution, extant laws, and the rest of them, you also have to reckon with the rascality of the political class. Because these children that are voting, for instance, they don't just wake up from their houses and decide to go and vote. Somebody compels them, somebody prompts them to go and vote. Somebody facilitates the movement to the voting centers. And of course, of course, whether you like it or not, there must be some posturing of have this, go and vote. Now, the Electoral Act is very clear. If you, after voters registration and all of that, you go to the INEC or whatever, and then get your card, your voting card. But we're also aware, and we've seen situations where traditional rulers or some politicians will collect cards and be distributing to people. Are you getting me? So it's not about coming up with this law. It's about implementing it. Are we having the political class that love this country so much that they will want to do the right thing? Are we having a political class that will give out, that will opt for this Nigerian interest instead of their personal interests? Because let me tell you, most of the laws you're seeing, we are seeing all over the place. Unfortunately, the legislators who come up with these laws like they are doing now, I can assure you that some of them who are tinkering with this arrangement are looking towards, or must be looking towards 10 years, 20 years arrangement where they think they have escape route. There's always a booby trap. They cultivate it themselves, the political class cultivates it themselves with the intention to jump and pass at the appropriate time. But unfortunately, God has made it in such a way that today you could be in government and tomorrow you're out of government. And when that happens, that's why when you hear some of the opposition leaders shouting and crying and all of that, most cases I don't even listen to them. Why I don't listen? Not because they're not making sense in what they are saying, but some of them took part in coming up with the laws as they are today. Even the conduct of our politicians here and there, that everybody appears to be disparaging. Of course, some of them were part of that arrangement in the past. You understand what I mean now? So, it is not about the law. Our institutions are so weak that we can't even enforce them, even if they pass it through now. Are you getting me? And like I said, do you know, I can comfortably go to the voting center and then thumbprint and take the voting paper inside the cubicle or whatever, and then roll it there without voting, and then come out too.
That is, you pretended as if you voted. Since it's under compulsion, you just pretended, or maybe you make it invalid.
Invalid. You can decide to.
That's a waste. That means our material has been wasted.
That's what I'm saying.
Time has been wasted.
Are you getting me? And when it happens like that, so many other persons could do the same thing. And like I said, the problem is not about the law. The law, even if it's passed tomorrow, is not implemented because of the things I mentioned now. They should be able to upgrade us to such a level that, you see, it's about our electoral system. We know what to do, but like I said, the politicians want to ensure that they have their way at all times. There must always be a murky area where they must harvest from to achieve whatever purpose they desire. That is what they do.
So now, as it is, with all of this that you've said now, it's obvious that whether or not the bill is passed, the implementation is going to be difficult.
It's going to be difficult.
Because that's more like infringing on someone's right.
Yes.
But then, do you think there are things that can be done in Nigeria today that will make people even long for the next election? Oh, let this election come, I want to vote. Like, we can see what happened in 2023, that we had some persons traveled all the way, pay their bills, without anyone making it compulsory. They traveled all the way to vote in the 2023 election, especially for the Labour Party. Do you think there are things that can be done to make Nigerians willingly want to vote, you know, to say, well, I traveled to vote, or election is coming, oh, when would election come again, when would 2027 come, I want to vote. Are there things that can be done, all right, to make Nigerians really want to vote without anyone passing any bill at all?
Let me tell you, when you make someone a citizen and he believes he's a citizen of a country, he will do anything to protect the interests of that country. I'm sorry to say that I've listened to some Nigerians, especially those of them who are abroad, and even those of them who are here, those of us who are here, and people appear to be losing faith in government. You see, instead of compelling anybody to do a thing, when we have good governance, if citizens are treated equally, without recourse to where is this one from, is he a Hausa man or Igbo man or Yoruba man or whatever, if people who are qualified take up appointment on merit, and not because they come from somewhere, if admissions to schools are taken on the basis of equality, I'm a Nigerian, and then we're all on the same table to contest for a thing, and we contest it, and then jobs are distributed evenly. Not because you are a son of this or a daughter of that. You find yourself working in Central Bank of Nigeria or working in FRIS or whatever in some of these NCC and in some of these privileged areas because they are people from privileged class. If an ordinary young Nigerian can wake up and attend an interview with every other person and gets the job, his faith in the country will be rekindled. Of course, it will be rekindled. And like I said, instead of forcing anybody to do a thing like this, like the voting right, first of all, reform the electoral process. We saw what happened in the last election. Without prejudice to the outcome of the election, halfway into the whole thing, they said there was a glitch. Well, whatever that meant, it's for those of them who are there, because I'm not a technician, I wouldn't know what that means. But I also know that in some of the countries, like our nearest neighbor here, Ghana had an election like yesterday. And by afternoon of the following day, the result was out. And in fact, the government candidate considered defeat. Because the man who contested for the government happened to be a former vice president.
And that's difficult in some other countries.
That's not what I'm saying. Now, let me tell you, if they can reform our electoral system in such a form that the Beavers, the IRF, and the rest of them will count, and it becomes possible for me to walk into a station, a voting center, and as I'm voting, the result of my voting is reflected. In that case, it becomes even difficult for anybody to change the outcome of the election, because at a certain stage you would have seen the result already. What I'm saying is that why we have this level of apathy is that there is almost a general consensus that votes no longer count. And I would be surprised if you know that the vote you have, that even when you go there to vote, that you will not count. Why are you going there to waste your time? That is exactly what is playing out. And the political class is uncomfortable because people are not voting. But they are not voting because their votes don't count. Are you getting me?
That's right.
So, what I'm saying in essence is, let them tinker with the electoral system, put in the energy they are putting into compelling people to vote, into upgrading the electoral system and arrangement and all the ICTs, whatever is involved, to make sure that we have the result of elections in record time and without any room for manipulation at any level.
All right, our time is fast spent now. Okay. People who make these laws, people who propose these bills, some persons are saying they have intentions why these bills are being proposed, maybe because they want to suit their purpose or for one or two reasons. Allegedly, some persons are even saying, like you've said, even if it is passed, the implementation is going to be difficult, looking at the kind of system that we have. People who make this kind of laws, all right, people who even propose them in the first place, what were they thinking? Or you feel they just want to do it maybe because 2027 is around the corner, they want to intimidate the people, or they want to. But Serap, then what would you say to Serap's?
Well, it is difficult. It will be difficult at this stage to begin to contemplate. To begin to unravel the contemplation of the legislature. The proposers, those who are moving the motion, who are facilitating it, knows why they are doing that. But what concerns me, and I'm sure it concerns so many Nigerians, is make it possible for Nigerians to vote under a conducive atmosphere, away from rancor, away from intimidation, away from using money to buy votes. Do this by providing good governance, ensuring that there is trust in the electoral system, because there is trust deficit in the electoral system. I can bet you there is no election they will conduct today in this country that anybody will think anything good will come out from it. The thing is that everybody appears to have become helpless.
So are you trying to say the Independent National Electoral Commission is not independent? Because they have the audience of conducting.
I am not in INEC and I'm not in government. But I also know that the elections we've had so far, we've not really had what you can call a free and fair election.
Okay.
Yeah, we've not had it.
That's what Nigerians are saying. I thought you were going to differ in opinion.
No, I can't differ. I can't differ because, you see, when there's a transparent system, transparency is not to be seen by a few persons. Transparency is not to be viewed by those concerned, the stakeholders, those whose interests are to be protected by the system. No. Transparency is something that should go down the ladder to the village person in the village. For instance, if you vote in a place in an election and they count the number of votes and they say, okay, those that voted, the number is 100. And then you get to the local government collection center or the ward collection center and you still see the 100. And you check the beavers, check the IF or whatever, and you still see the 100. And it gets to the state collection center and you hey, you want to vote Thursday. That's what I'm saying. So it's not about whether they have good intention or bad intention. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm aligning with Serap. Whatever they're saying there, yeah, I've read part of their positions and all that. You can't compel anybody to vote. If you must compel anybody, provide an environment that will compel them, and it should be something that is self. It has to come from the person. I know countries that young people are praying to get to 18 years so that they can be eligible to vote. And why are they doing that? Because they want to be part of a system that produces good government. Good government.
But it's different in Nigeria.
That is the point.
Because most persons even go to register for this voting because they can use it as national ID card for registrations and other things.
How many of the voters even collect their voters' cards? Let's start from there.
Yeah, we heard that. A lot were not collected.
Will register, but they will never go to collect the cards. So you are talking of those who register but don't collect cards. And now you are talking about compelling everybody to go and vote, even when those who register don't even collect their cards. So what are we talking about?
Well, it's a big challenge right here. Well, it's a big challenge. It's a big challenge. But so I don't see this bill. I don't see it being passed. Well, Serap is ready up and they are giving their warnings already. And my guest in the studio is aligning with what Serap is saying. Many thanks for joining us today. Time will not allow us to continue, even though the conversation is so intense and interesting. It's been a legal practitioner, Dr. Okezogo, and he is also an international relations expert. And of course, we are glad to have you talk about the issue of voting and be voted for and refusing to vote and its penalty as it's been proposed in one of the bills so far. We hope to have you join us again in our other programs.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is going to be the size of the second conversation on, as a matter of fact, Global Morning. Today will come on your way again with another edition subsequently. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo. Many thanks for joining us. Bye-bye for now.
Welcome to Global Morning.
Death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. If you don't say we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rate as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve the struggle as a strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a life. The president never gave me any deadline.